Hello everybody, the Great Dino Ranger here again, back with another review. Finally, it's been a really long time since I did my last review. Haven't really been finding anything new in the stores lately, since my last reviews at least, but moving on to the month of June, man, we got a whole bunch of stuff coming out. You know, those from the Hammond collection, as well as Epic Evolution, and even Chaos Theory. A bunch of cool things coming out, so expect to see a bunch of reviews coming up throughout the summer, I guess I should say. But we have two great reviews coming up. In case you guys saw my short video on YouTube, but I managed to find these two awesome Hammond collection figures at my local Target, and I'm just super stoked to have them. So first up, we're going to take a look at one of them, and that is the Jurassic World Hammond Collection Therizinosaurus. So we finally have a Hammond Collection versions of these Dominion dinosaurs, which Dominion, I know that came out back in 2022, but it felt so recent, and yet there's already Hammond Collection versions of some of these creatures already, and I'm just super stoked to have these. These things are gorgeous looking. They're really detailed, high quality figures, very movie accurate than even their mainline counterparts, which I enjoyed at first, and I still do, but these ones are definitely hands down the better looking versions of these dinosaurs. So here we are, the Therizinosaurus. Really did enjoy this dinosaur from Dominion. Hope we see it again too, and yeah, I'm just super happy to finally have a Hammond Collection version. So taking a look at the box, it's kind of similar to this new box design, like the Carnotaurus and the Dimetrodon and Blue and all that. You got the Jurassic World T-Rex logo up there, Hammond Collection logo right there, an awesome picture of the Therizinosaurus, looking gorgeous, and then you got the name of the dinosaur, Therizinosaurus, with some jungle background there. Got the Mattel logo, and you got a window here. We can take a good look at the figure, which is really good. I've been hearing a lot of QC issues being found on the Giga, not so much on the Thera, so it's really good to have an open window so you can kind of look at the figure and hope you're not going to get a bad one. Obviously you can't check it fully because it's in the box, but we'll see. I have a pretty good feeling that these ones are going to be good anyway. Here at the top you got the T-Rex logo and some cool machinery, and then on the side here you got a really awesome picture of the Therizinosaurus looking awesome and menacing as usual. With some forest in the background there. It looks really nice. And then you got the Hammond Collection logo. Then you got the awesome Jurassic World Dominion logo. Like seeing Dominion get some love here. And then on the back, on the side here, just the Hammond Collection. And then here on the back, we got a lot of stuff going on here. You got the Jurassic World Dominion logo. An awesome picture of the Therizinosaurus again. Looking really nice here. And you got some close-up shots here of the eye, which looks really, really good here. And then you got another shot of it right here, looking great. And here you got some other figures in the line. You got Fallen Kingdom Claire, Velociraptor Delta, the Pyroraptor, and then the Giganotosaurus, which we'll review after this one. I'm really looking forward to the Pyroraptor. Definitely one of my favorites in the movie, and I'm glad we're getting a Hammond Collection version of that. And then, probably my favorite part of these Hammond Collection boxes is the description of the dinosaur in the back. And it reads, Therizinosaurus. The Therizinosaurus slashes onto the scene when the Tyrannosaurus Rex and Giganotosaurus furiously face off in the Biosyn courtyard. After the Tyrannosaurus Rex makes a final push for dominance, the razor-sharp claws of the Therizinosaurus prove to be of assistance. So that's obviously a nod to the epic final battle from Dominion, which I really did enjoy, when the T-Rex literally grabs the Giga and throws him into the claws of the Thera, literally impaling it all the way through, even through the armored scales that the Giga has. So really powerful stuff right there. Really cool shot. So I like how they do that. I really do miss Mattel putting a picture of the dinosaur from the movie. I don't know. I really did enjoy that with the earlier Hammond Collection releases. Kind of wish they still did that. Would have loved to see a picture of the Therizinosaurus from the movie. But other than that, that's it for the packaging. enough talking, let's get this awesome figure out of the package. All right, so here is the Hammond collection Therizinosaurus out of the box. And here it is in all of its glory. And my gosh, this thing is amazing. This is such a gorgeous figure. Definitely probably the best representation of the Jurassic Park Therizinosaurus to date from Mattel. And this figure just looks awesome. Now, I'm pretty sure half of you guys already know this, but when you open it, you do have to attach the tail, which is pretty simple, but that's the only piece of assembly that's needed for this dinosaur. But yeah, taking a look at it, just out of the box, just kind of looking at it, this thing is just awesome. Definitely much better than Mattel's mainline release back in 2022. More movie accurate, better proportionate. Like, I'm already noticing that the head's definitely smaller, the hands are smaller, the feet are smaller, the tail is longer. So yeah, the proportions are definitely much better on this figure. And the paint job just looks great. It looks incredibly accurate. And yeah, I don't even know where to start with a figure like this. I guess we'll just kind of talk about things, you know, here and there. I guess we could just kind of go over the sculpt, you know, and just the overall better proportions of this figure. You know, it's really great on this one. Like, this one actually looks more like a Therizinosaurus in terms of body shape than the mainline. Only because the mainline one, which we'll get into further detail with that later in comparisons, but the other one, you could tell it was a Therizinosaurus because it had a slightly longer neck and the claws, but this one has like the full characteristics of not only just the Jurassic World Dominion Thera, but just in Therizinosaurus altogether. It's got the, you know, a smaller head, a more thin neck, and it's got like the really big body, which is probably one of the most famous characteristics of Therizinosaurus, at least how it's portrayed in some media and paleo art and whatnot. Just a really big, fat belly, or just body in general, I guess, with everything else. And that's what I'm getting with this figure right here. And it's actually a pretty good size figure too. Roughly kind of similar in size with the mainline one, except obviously it's a bit bigger because it's got the better proportions. You know, it's got the longer legs, you know, longer tail, and the longer neck kind of, but a smaller head. So it actually looks a lot bigger with these accurate proportions. And we'll go ahead and take a closer look at the head right here. A really cool looking head. Really gorgeous looking. Look at all the detail in the sculpt right here with the lines and the smaller pebbles right here on the side of the face, and these cool little ridges on the upper side of the skull, kind of above the eye, kind of like the brow ridge, I guess. The nostrils are nicely sculpted. The beak is nicely present there too. Got some more detail here at the bottom, which looks really great. And you can even see the glass eye, which actually looks pretty good here. You don't even need a whole lot of light to see it, but really nice looking with the orangish color or the yellow color, whatever. And you can see the slit pupil, which looks really good, and it kind of follows you when you move the figure, which is really cool. And I'm glad they didn't give this one the blind eye like the Dominion one, because giving it this kind of normal eye right here just kind of symbolizes a generic Therizinosaurus, not that specific one, but I know, I just like that. And all over the head here at the top, the feathers are nicely sculpted on this one. And we'll get into that in a second, but here at the jaw, the teeth are nicely sculpted. They're the separate sculpted piece, so they're not painted or anything, so that's really good. And they're much tinier than the mainline one. The mainline one made it look like a carnivore. This one, yeah, I know the teeth kind of give it off like a carnivore, but these ones are actually just smaller teeth to help break down vegetation because it's an herbivore. The tongue is nicely sculpted. You know, just everything about it is just really nicely sculpted on this figure. And then here, you know, moving on to the neck, really nice amount of feather sculpt work. Mattel did an excellent job with the feathers. And then here on the underside, actually the entire underside is just the skin, but it has some really nice, you know, lined texture going on here. So really nicely done. You can see the skin folds and stretches and all that. And then the entire top side is just this beautiful array of feathers. And I like how they look really slick too, like how it was in the movie. Like they're all drooping down too. They're not like sticking up, they're all drooping down just like how it is in the film. And it's kind of smooth to the touch when you rub your finger against it, which kind of gives it like that slick downy feeling. Kind of reminds me of the feathers like you'd find on an emu, where they're just kind of sloping down like that. Really nice. Same here at the leg. Look how they just kind of droop down. So really nice sculpt work with the feathers. Even here on the tail, the long tail, which is really nice. And the skin texturing kind of continues at the bottom as well. So really nicely done there. Here at the arms, really muscular looking arms right here. Definitely better proportionate with the smaller hands. You got some nice array of scales here on the arms, because that's the skin, and then you got some feathers peeking out through the arm as well, which are nicely sculpted. And then here at the hands are nicely detailed with the cool ridges here on the fingers. And then here you can see the nice amount of detail here on the underside. And the claws are nicely detailed as well, with the kind of have like this scuff looking look to it, which kind of adds to the, you know, that claw look to it, which is really cool. And also nice amount of muscle definition peeking through the body and through the feathers right here. Really nicely done, especially here on the arms, and then the legs themselves. Speaking of the legs, here are, at least is one of the legs. You can see a lot of nice scale detail right here. Look at that. Really cool around the knee area. Just some nice overall detail and some more stretched skin marks right here. Here at the lower part of the leg, nice muscle definition peeking through the legs right here. And then nice amount of scales. Look at that. Really great detail all over this there, and some nice line work as well. And here at the feet, which are nice and small and proportionate, looking really nice too. Nice amount of ridges all over the foot right here, and then the toes. And here at the bottom, just kind of some more lined texture on both sides, except this one has the T-Rex logo. And then as you can see, the dew claw on this side right here, looking great. Unfortunately, it's not painted, but you know, it is what it is. Here you can see on this side some more detail in the texture, which looks really great. So a really good combination and mix between scales or skin and feathers. Yeah, the feathers just look really nice on this one. I'm super impressed. And now we'll go on to colors. Colors are pretty good, very accurate to the Therizinosaurus in the movie. You got like the lighter colors on the head and the primary dark colors all over the body. And here on the head, you got some yellowish cream tones for like the lower jaw and this part front of the head right here, which is also the same color as the beak. And then we got like this green or turquoise green color for the brow ridges and these little spots of the scales, which look really nice. It makes the head stand out, kind of like birds, which is really cool. And then we got like this beige underbelly color for the pretty much the skin on this dinosaur, which looks really good and is definitely really well applied to this figure. You know, as you can see, it's just all over the underside, which pretty much goes all the way to the tip of the tail, which is phenomenal. So really great there. I'm surprised the skin color isn't all over the arms or the hands, so I'm not sure if that's just part of how Mattel paints their figures. But I'm pretty sure this color is supposed to be on the arms and whatnot, but for the purpose of the toy, it is not, but we get the main gist of it. Even the ridges have like that beige color kind of dry brushed onto it, which makes them pop. Even dry brushed here on the claws, which adds like that rust or that dirty, scuffed up look to it, which is really cool. Really, really, really cool. And then we got like a dark gray for the nails. Here are the toenails. Now for the entire feathers, or the feathered portions, is like this really dark navy blue color. Kind of like a dark blue, maybe some hints of like a black in there. But really dark colors for the primary look of the feathers, which look really great. And then we got some red dry brush on there, which literally looks really good. It makes the feather sculpt pop when it's dry brushed on there. And it's dry brushed here from the neck, and it goes down to the body. Actually, pretty much all over the top part of the body, all over here on the thighs, and it pretty much goes halfway down the tail, at least to this part, and it looks really good. It makes it pop. I really do like that a lot. Now there's one aspect that I really liked on the mainline one that I wish they could have added on this one, and that's like that white stripe that's not really well definitive. It's there, but it doesn't really pop. It's kind of like lightly, you know, striped there, at least in the movie. So they could have like maybe lightly dry brushed a little white stripe there, but for the most part, I mean, this looks really great for what it is. Like you can see the red here dry brushed, which looks awesome. So yeah, the colors look really great. I forgot the inside of the mouth is like this nice flesh color, and it's covered in like this glossy coat, so it makes it look wet with saliva, which adds to the realism of the look of this dinosaur. And the teeth are obviously molded in like a lighter beige, maybe like a light bone colored color, I guess, but really cool. Articulation, that's obviously where these figures shine, and there's a whole lot. So as you can see, the jaw opens and closes, which works really well. And then here at the base of the neck right here, it can go, you can move it here up and down, so you can get some nice looking up poses. It can also rotate, though it's pretty stiff, so you might want to be careful with yours, but it can rotate, so you can get some nice looking around poses and whatnot. I think it can even like tilt its head too, so it's kind of like on a ball joint, like some of the earlier Danger Pack figures. So really nice range of motion there. And then the neck, you just got like a joint right here at the base of the neck where the neck is attached to the body. Just because it just goes up and down, excuse me for that, up and down. So nice looking down motions. And obviously you can alter that by moving the head. So really cool there. And I think it can also rotate, but again, it's kind of stiff. You want it stiff because you don't want these getting loose. So some range of motion. I was actually really curious how they were going to do articulation in the neck. I thought they were going to give it like the multiple joints like the Ankylosaurus tail, or just a rubber neck, which I was hoping they didn't do, and luckily they didn't, because I don't really like that on the Brachiosaurus. I mean, I don't own it myself, but based on the videos I've seen, it doesn't really look that cool with the rubber neck. But here, you know, it got some nice movement in the neck here, and I think it works good in my opinion. Here at the arms, you got a lot of articulation here in the arms. You got here at the shoulders, which are extremely stiff on mine, but they're not gonna break or anything. But you can move it or pivot in and out so you get some nice arms stretched out motions. And they can move not really 360, at least on mine, just forward and backwards. And then here at the elbows, they can move forward and backwards. And it can also rotate, so you get some nice, you know, whacking motions to whack a carnivore or something. And here at the wrist, it can move, let's see if I can get it here. The joints here can move up and down, so you get some, you know, nice motion there. And it can also rotate. It's stiff on mine, but yeah, it can also rotate. So if you wanted to, you can get the Therizinosaurus in the classic pronated position, but I like to leave mine facing the side because that's how it is in the movie. And then surprisingly, we got individual joints for each claw. Now that is kind of weird. I probably would have preferred maybe joints on the fingers instead of the claws, because that's not really natural. You don't have your claws or your nails move independently. You know, it should have been maybe the fingers, but that's just a tiny, tiny little nitpick. Nothing even too major that's gonna, you know, knock off points with this figure. I just think that it probably would have worked better and natural if it was like that. But I do like what Mattel did here, and I do give them points for giving us something new. So the claws here, each one can move up and down, and they can rotate, interestingly. So really cool there, and make them in weird positions. So I guess in some way, if you bend the claws, and maybe it looks like the fingers are bending, but really cool though, really interesting. This is not what we got in the mainline figure, that's for sure. Next, we got some movement here in the legs, so here at the hips or the thigh, whatever. It's a lot more tighter, ratcheted, you know, joint right here. So it looks like Mattel is kind of trying to stay away from the whole legs getting loose, but trying to stick with their same position. So it literally, you know, shifts to the next spot, which literally stays there. Like, it's not gonna get loose. And it pretty much just goes forward and backward for the most part. So that's really cool. The hips can also pivot in and out for some additional stability. And then here at the knees, it can move forward and backwards and also rotate. So very typical for these articulated dinosaurs. Now we'll move on to the ankle on this one, because this one's pretty stiff on mine. I don't want to break it. But this one right here, you just got a joint right here that moves forward and backwards. Really stiff on mine, but you get the idea. And then here at the feet, which can also, or at least the sole part of the foot, it can also rotate. So pretty typical for the Hammond collection figures. But yeah, lots of great posability with the legs. You can get them to really good positions. I spent all day just kind of playing around with this thing, getting into some cool positions. You know, it's really cool what Mattel is capable of with these articulated figures. Now for the tail, one thing I want to say, that the material, the rubber material they use for the tail of this Thera is a lot different than previous figures. It is definitely much different than the Carnotaurus, obviously the smaller figures, much different than the T-Rex and all those other medium ones. Like, the rubber material is less of a stiff rubber and more of an actual soft rubber. Like, this actually could pass for real feel skin on this figure. Like, I'm not joking. Like, this is definitely a different material, and I like this one a lot more because the bendy wire they have in it moves so much better with this new feel for the tail. So first, here at the base where you attach the tail, it can move, you know, all the way around, but it's, you know, kind of stiff. You don't really want to break up the sculpt anyway. It can go down pretty far, and it can go up at least that far. And then the bendy wire is really great on this one. Like, it actually bends so much nicer. You don't have to like force it like some of the other figures, like the T-Rex and the Carnotaurus and all that. This one just like literally guides with your hand. Like, you don't have to add so much work to it, and I appreciate that a lot. So I really do like the feeling on this one. And it's the same thing with the Giganotosaurus, which we'll get to on the next review. But yeah, that pretty much counts for the articulation for this Therizinosaurus. Overall, a really great figure. Let's go ahead and jump on to size comparisons. And here we have it. 2 years later, we've gotten another Therizinosaurus from Mattel. So here is our new and improved Hammond Collection Thera compared with the original mainline Dominion figure of the Therizinosaurus. And there's a huge difference between these. Like, it's crazy. I remember getting all hyped for this figure when I first saw it released. You know, I had a hard time finding this one too, so I was just super excited to finally get this one. And when I did, I was super excited because, you know, it's our first Therizinosaurus, excuse me, toy for any Jurassic Park toy line, and I was just super happy with it. And I still like it, I still do. But man, then you look at this one, and this thing is just gorgeous, and definitely blows this one out of the water. And there's actually a pretty good difference in size. I thought there would actually be similar, but now looking at them like this, there's a huge difference. Now, obviously, this one has much stubbier and shorter legs with bigger feet, so it's definitely not as tall. This one I have standing in a taller position, so you can't really have this one in a base stance because it's all depending on how you articulate it. But the legs are definitely longer on the new one. The body is definitely more thicker and rounder than this one. This one's a lot more thin. It doesn't have like that big body look as a real Therizinosaurus would have. The neck is obviously a lot more skinnier. The head's a lot more smaller. So it's just overall better proportionate. The hands are smaller on this one, and these ones are huge. Now, obviously, this one's based off of concept art, so it's not entirely accurate to the movie anyway, like this one is. But, you know, I still like this one for what it is. You know, it's definitely still my first Therizinosaurus toy from Mattel, but also from any Jurassic toy line. And it's still going to have a special place in my heart, sure. But my main go-to Thera is always going to be this one from now on. And as you can see here in the head, the teeth are just incredibly large on this one, giving it like a carnivore look. There isn't any blue around the face like the movie one does. See, this one does have that white stripe, which I do like. It contrasts really well with the dark body and the red, and I think it would be really cool if they added to that. But yeah, really cool to compare these two together. And finally, here is the Hammond Collection Therizinosaurus compared with a human. Here I have the Hammond Collection Jurassic Park 3 Alan Grant. And that, yeah, I think the size is pretty good on this one. Looking at it here, the Therizinosaurus is huge. Now, it's definitely maybe not entirely accurate to the one in the movie in terms of size, because the Therizinosaurus was actually pretty big in that one. But I think this one covers maybe a real-life Therizinosaurus scale pretty nicely with a human. But I think the overall look here just looks great. You can just see how massive this dinosaur really was, and how scary it must have been to get close to it. So if any of you guys watched that Chased by Dinosaurs spinoff from the Walking with Dinosaurs series, man, Nigel Marven must have had huge amounts of bravery to stand next to a Therizinosaurus, which is really cool, a really memorable moment for me. And it's just really cool to see these two compared with each other. So yeah, definitely a great scale, I would say. Yeah, as you can see here, I'm just having a lot of fun posing around with this thing. So everyone, that's about to wrap it up for this review. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. For my final thoughts of this figure, it is absolutely gorgeous. It is such an amazing and cool looking figure. One of my favorite dinosaurs of all time, but also just one of my favorites shown in Dominion. And just to get an actual highly detailed, articulated, movie accurate version of this dinosaur is super fun. It's super cool. I'm super grateful that I managed to find these in the store. I'm just grateful just to have it in my collection, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it for any Jurassic Park collector out there. It's a really magnificent figure. Definitely worth your money for sure. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys again for the next review, where we will then take a look at the big bad Giganotosaurus.